Hey guys, today we're taking a look at my Crystal Beast deck. Now, I made an advanced Crystal Beast deck a little while ago, but I really wanted to redo my actual Crystal Beast deck to make it a bit stronger, a little more competitive. So it's a pretty interesting archetype. It just focuses on monsters that go to the spell zone when they get destroyed and allows you to activate a lot of effects. It has a lot of swarming, it has a lot of XYZ potential, it has some OTKs, it has a lot of support with magic cards. So it's a really interesting deck type, and I'm going to go through my cards. So Topaz Tiger, very good beater because he gets 400 when he's attacking, so pretty much a 2000 beater at the start, which is really, really nice. Sapphire Pegasus, kind of the star of the deck, because whenever he's summoned anyway, you can just put monsters in your spell and trap zone on top of having 1800 attack. So just a really good card. Yeah, I definitely say the star of the deck. Cobalt Eagle is an interesting one, so low attack, but it can bounce cards. So it's kind of interesting. It could bounce your own cards basically back to the top of the deck. So it's really interesting because you can use it in interesting ways. You can use it with Crystal Release, which I'll talk about. You can use it for Pegasus to kind of reuse its effect, and it puts the card on the top of the deck, so you can redraw it with Rainbow Ruins or your normal draw phase. So it's very interesting and lets you set up some interesting stuff as well. And then we have Fossil Dyna, so really, really good in this deck. That's why I put 2 in. I thought about 1. I actually thought about 3. It's just very, very good because you can destroy special summon cards. You're able to, destroy your own special summon cards to put them in the spell zone. Really annoy your opponent. Just a very good card overall for this type of deck, and it can help lock down your opponent, which is really nice with all the special summoning there are nowadays. And then 2 Ruby Carbuncle. So really, this is just used as a swarm card. When it gets special summoned, you can special summon Crystal Beasts like crazy. So lets you set up into very powerful plays. So very, very nice. Summoner Monk, very, very good in this deck for a bunch of different reasons. You have so many spells in this deck that very easy to dump one. And like I said, Sapphire Pegasus works on special summon. So very, very powerful. And you can do XYZs on top of it. Just really, really good. Tour Guide, giving you access to some level 3 XYZs, which is very nice. Gives you some potential to do some nice combos. And then we have 1 Hamon, so Hamon can be a good boss in this type of deck. There's some other bosses you can run. You can not run this card if you want. It's up to you, but I like having 1. I'm personally a fan of this card. The only thing is that it runs in the way of the other things you're trying to do with Crystal Beast, but it also can combo with some of those things as well. So for the spell cards, Rainbow Ruins is the field card. Not going to go into all of its effects, but overall, just the more Crystal Beasts you have, the more amazing effects it has, and it leads to some very annoying things that your opponent will have to deal with. Crystal Promise, way too good in this deck. Special summon a Crystal Beast very easily. Crystal Beacon, same thing. Special summoning Crystal Beast. Special summoning Crystal Beast in general is so good because you special summon Pegasus and you basically, get your card back that you use. Just really, really good. Crystal Blessing, reusing those Crystal Beasts from the graveyard, which is very, very nice. Crystal Release, giving you some attack bonuses and more Crystal Beasts. Crystal Abundance, I'm running 2 of this. It's definitely a debate whether you want to run 1 or 2 because it's a choice card, it's a situational card, it's an OTK card. I like having 2 of it because of all the Crystal Beasts power you have. You should be able to get 4 up pretty easily, so I like getting this card pretty often. Definitely up to you though. Rare Value, giving you the draw power in this deck. Dumping a Crystal Beast, not a big deal. MST, 1 Terraforming, you can run more if you want. I'm personally fine with 1. Dark Hole, good in any deck, but obvious choice in this deck. And the 1 trap that a lot of Crystal Beasts run is Torrential Tribute, because it's not a big deal for you to destroy your own monsters, so very good. Mostly in a Crystal Beast deck you won't run back row because it gets in the way of the strategy of the deck, but I'll still talk about some back row in the side deck. So now for the extra deck, so we're going to have some staple 4-stars and some other stuff. The staple 4-stars, Exciton Knight, can be helpful. Silent Honor. Diamond Direwolf, really good in this deck. You can obviously see why. Fairy King can be gotten out with Tigers. Maestroke, Lavalval Chain can be very helpful for this deck. Gagaga Cowboy. Thunderspark Dragon, situational, but can be really good depending on what you're doing. You have a lot of swarming in this deck, so it's not a big deal. We also have 3 Chidoris. Chidori is really, really easy to get out in this deck because you have Pegasus and Cobalt Eagle. And it's a really, really good card overall. So definitely running 3 of this. You can run less if you want and run other XYZs. Ice Beast with Sapphire Pegasus, pretty easy to get this card out. I thought about running 2 of this as well because it's a really, really good effect. So that's definitely a choice. I might cut down and run 2 of this and 2 of Chidori or dump one of the XYZs I have for it. And then 1 Harpie's pet Phantasmal Dragon. Definitely a situational card, but can do really, really big damage to your opponent if they can't deal with it, which is very nice. And then a couple of the 3-star XYZs, you can add in more if you want. I put in the 2 most useful ones, Zenmaines and Leviair. Very good to be able to get a banished card back. So now for the side deck. Again, side decks in my videos are just kind of recommended cards that can also work with the deck. It isn't necessarily a side deck for matches, but if you're building your own, Crystal Beast deck, these might be some cards that you might want to take a look at. So Amber Mammoth is an interesting one. Its effect is more of a lockdown-based type of card, so if you want to do a more lockdown-based Crystal Beast deck, you might want to run this. It's up to you. Malefic Cyber End Dragon is actually a pretty nice card that you can run in this deck. Very, very easy to get out. It takes up extra deck space, but very powerful. Can be nice for rolling over some of your opponent's monsters. Dragon Queen is really easy to get out, nice for stalling, and can kind of recycle itself with your Crystal Beast, so it's an interesting card to use. Diamond Dude is actually a really good card in this deck because you have so many normal spell cards, so actually a very good card to get those spells quickly. There's definitely some other extra deck cards you can think about using, like Acid Golem if you want to roll over your opponent more with a higher attack monster. Utopia, more for stalling, definitely can be a good card in this deck. There's other XYZs, but I'm not going to get into too many of them. Pot of Duality is a choice for draw power, but we have our own draw power, and it gets in the way of the deck a lot. Unicorn Beacon is an interesting one, kind of like Leviair, just special summoning your beast monsters, which is interesting. Mage Power will give your monsters a lot of attack because you have a lot of spells going on, but it gets in the way of what you're trying to do. Some of the back row stuff, as I said, back row is not a big thing in this deck because you don't want to use up that space. But if you do want to use that space, these are cards you can use. Cards like Solemn Warning that will almost guaranteed be able to be used could be good to use. Crystal Pair is an interesting one. Crystal Regiki. Super Rush Recklessly is actually a decent card for this type of deck because you're destroying your card isn't a big deal. Treacherous Trap Hole, also a really good card in this type of deck. And Horn of the Phantom Beast, but again, it takes up a slot, which can be kind of annoying. But some of those traps that can be used very quickly aren't so bad for the deck and don't clog up the back row. But that's my Crystal Beast deck. Very fun to play. It's been around for a long time, but I still think it has some potential to compete these days. Maybe not as strong as other decks, but I definitely like seeing people run it and seeing what people can do with it. But on that note, if you guys have your own Crystal Beast deck, post below, let me know in the comments, talk about what cards you use, make suggestions for me, that kind of thing. But thank you guys for watching. I'll see you later.